City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, November 9th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oak, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. The time is now 6:34 p.m. The public will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and is permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary in person at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, or by emailing, calling the city secretary at cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com, or at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Written comments received at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting will be provided for consideration. May I get a call to order? Or I will call to order. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
Here.
Alderman Martinez.
Here.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
Alderman Kalfendaffer.
Here.
City Secretary is not present. Our city attorney is. We have a quorum. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. Corporal, I don't believe we have anybody signed up to speak.
No.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mayor and Administrator announcements and updates. All right, so the first update that I have, or the first announcement, is we are going to proclaim by the mayor recognizing November as Native American Heritage Month in the city of Sandy Oaks. All right. So whereas Native Americans have played a vital role in this country, and their contributions have enhanced freedom, prosperity, and greatness in America today. And whereas by celebrating Native American Heritage Month, we affirm our commitment to remember those contributions and to honor the unique heritage of our continent's first inhabitants. And whereas this special observance reflects the rich heritage and great influence that Native Americans had on our nation's history and culture, and reflects our continuing commitment to Native American tribal governments as an integral part of the social, political, and economic fabric of the United States. Now, therefore, be it known that I, Michael Martinez Jr., by the power vested in me as mayor of the city of Sandy Oaks and on behalf of City Council, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as Native American Heritage Month in the city of Sandy Oaks, and encourage all city residents to participate in this observance, thereby fostering the celebration of diversity and keeping strong the rich cultural foundation of our community and our country. Proclaimed this 9th day of November 2023. Okay. Moving on to agenda item B, 4B. Proclamation by the mayor and the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas. Whereas we are pleased and honored that the city of Sandy Oaks City Council has joined together again this year to pay tribute on this day to the dedicated veterans who have served this great nation with such distinction, both in peacetime and in war. Whereas our community has a continuing sense of gratitude to those who have given so much in the defense of the freedom which we all continue to enjoy. And whereas Americans have an abiding faith in the ideals and strengths on which our great nation was founded, in our democratic process, and in the men and women of the armed forces who have served our country so well. And whereas, in honor of these dedicated men and women, we pledge our continued defense of our nation so that their sacrifice will stand before the entire world as a tribute to the spirit and determination of a people dedicated to the principles of freedom and democracy. And whereas on this patriotic occasion, let us all commit ourselves to the great need of fostering a spirit of rededication to the ideals that have served as the foundation of this great country. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, therefore, I, Michael Martinez Jr., Mayor of the City of Sandy Oaks, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 11th, 2023 as honor our Veterans Day in the city of Sandy Oaks and urge all citizens to honor our veterans and rededicate themselves to the preservation of our liberties under the Constitution. Proclaim this 9th day of November 2023. Now, I believe we do have some veterans, not only on the council, but in attendance. So I want to give y'all a round of applause for y'all service. Okay. Moving right along to the consent agenda. Now, I do believe we only have the September 14th. So we will have to make a separate motion.
So I think you can pull the two non-applicable items
Just
and we can deal
Okay.
with the rest.
Got it. All right. So then we will go ahead and pull the September 28th, 12th, and October 12th.
Having done so, I move that we approve of the consent agenda items A and B.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to accept the consent agenda with the two items pulled. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and pull item 6 for the financial report for now. As our city secretary is not in attendance today. All right, moving on to agenda item 7, Police Department updates and announcements from Chief Lopez. Sir,
I have nothing, sir.
no updates. Thank you. As we spoke earlier, no monthly report.
Next month,
Okay.
next city council.
Okay, moving right along. Let's keep the momentum going. I want to skip items 7 and D, but to come back to them. Let's move on to item 8A, animal control. Presentation of monthly report by ACO Ashley Cunningham with possible discussion and or action. Ma'am?
Hi, everyone.
Evening.
So for this month, we had 6 warnings given. We had 3 citations. We had 6 impounds. We had 1 impound and citation. There were 10 animals that I was unable to locate that I got calls for. And then there was 5 instances of no violation observed. There was 7 open cases at the end of October. And then there was 1 that was resolved prior to contact. The animals in custody as of October 31st was 5. As of yesterday, there's 1. And it's a new pickup. So it's not the same ones that were here.
Very good.
And that's all I have.
Awesome, awesome. The 4 or the 5 really that you moved since October 31st. How do we move those?
They were sent to shelters outside.
Okay.
Some of them went to, and 2 of them went to Wisconsin, and one of them was the 3 dogs that were here the longest. One of them was adopted in Forest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome,
Great.
awesome. Thank you. Are you hearing any feedback on how they're getting our information? Like, I mean, because Floresville obviously is pretty close, but how did they come about?
I'm contacting them,
Okay,
so I reach out and see if any of the rescues can take them. And if they have availability, they'll come and they'll
okay,
how do you say it,
Transport.
them.
transfer them. Awesome,
Nice.
thank you.
Great.
Good news, good news.
When When dogs like that are transported, do we incur costs?
No, they have volunteers or they take the cost on themselves.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Moving right along, agenda item 9A, Parks and Recreation, updates and announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and interaction. Sir?
Okay, we met on the 7th and we met at the community center since there was the election here in the city hall. And we discussed various things in the park. And how things were going, maybe some things that we wanted to happen or thought that we might want to do. We discussed skirting the new storage shed and also tying it down. So we're going to look for a quote for that. I discussed it already with Priscilla. And we also talked about, which we might bring up here later, about the car show and whether it was a worthy thing to do. And that's just some of the things we talked about. And the next meeting will be December the 5th.
Do you have any plans? Does the community center have any plans for any Christmas toy giveaways or anything like that?
Yeah, they're going to do some stuff.
Okay.
They always do, so they are. But,
Okay,
they have the angel tree things that they're going to do.
okay. Just keep us in the loop so that way we
Oh,
can
yeah.
try to support you as best as we can.
Have they started up with talking about the bike collection or like, or anything of that nature yet? Not yet.
They're always talking about it, but they haven't, no specifics yet.
Okay, yeah, that's a better question. Do they have specifics on these things? I know they love doing that.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Yeah, moving right along, discussing our possible action on the feasibility of having another car show in 2024.
Well, as I was saying in just a moment ago, we discussed that, and the only reason I brought that up is because in past meetings, we if we were going to have it, we needed council approval to do it. Now, I personally don't think this is the correct venue. I don't know. I mean, Alderman Coffindaffer really wants to do it, and I'm sort of ambivalent about it. I think most of the people on the Parks Committee, we discussed it for a good while, and they all think that it's right now, the way the city is, we're not big enough, they don't think, to really do it justice. Now, I don't know what you think about it.
I know on my side of the house, I'd say for our first show that we've ever had in the city, it was actually pretty good. And I will tell you, I did have a budget on that show. It was about $500. It came out of my pocket, not out of the city. And I did that for advertising. I spoke before that we'd like to see it grow a little bit, get more advertising into it, and hopefully be able to do something more than just a show and shine, which is what we done on the first show. Where if people want to do a show and shine, okay, they could bring their cars out, no problem. If they want to do something of competition, then that would be a registration fee, is what we're looking at. When I say we, I know I spoke to the mayor about that. And we'd have first, second, third prizes for it. And I'd like to see a budget for it, not to exceed $5,000 for the next year. But that would also cover everything from advertising to prizes, things of that nature. Any funds that would be earned off of this, I'd like to see go back into the general fund. I'd like us to be able to possibly sell some t-shirts for the city out there, or some sort of shirt or something, and start trying to work this into an annual event. I do not expect the next show or even the next 4 shows to go extremely large. I do see them being small for right now as we're starting it up.
Mhm.
Everybody that we spoke to that came out and participated at the last show They enjoyed it, the vendors enjoyed it. The people that showed their cars enjoyed it. So that's where it all started at.
Well, the people, what was discussed at the Parks Committee, that certainly is not, the people that have the ultimate say on it, but what they would like to see is not have it in the heat of the summer if it took place, and that it should be, there needs to be a dedicated group that plans and executes it, and that, granted, it needs to be, have a budget, and that there should be sponsors for it that are people that know how to put on a car show. And so they were just some of the topics that were discussed.
And we did try that.
Yeah, so they, so they would like to have it sometime other than the heat of the summer. So there are just some points that we need to discover, or we need to think about. Now, if we want to approve, I guess the reason I brought this up was to bring it before the council to say, do we want to have a car show? So then we would need a vote to approve having a car show, and then at a later date, pick a date and so I'd like to hear some other thoughts.
I'd like to speak to it.
Go ahead.
Number one, I do agree that heat of the summer is probably not the best time to have a car show. The Parks Committee, by and large, is completely ambivalent.
Mhm.
So my recommendation would be the car show be segregated from Park Committee and deal directly with City Council. I don't know if you want to form a car show committee or what, but yeah, I just don't see the Parks Committee as taking that on as.
Yeah.
No, and there should be a
I think the Parks
dedicated
Committee is
group
very
that
loaded for
runs the
themselves.
show,
Sir,
or else it's not going to happen, or it's not going to be fulfilled in the way it should.
So I agree that it should really be separated from the Parks Committee. And I do agree that it should be within the council, right? But the one thing that gets brought up then, if we separate it from the Parks Committee, is how do we run it, right? In a sense of, we need people to empty trash cans, to direct traffic. And the only thing that comes to my mind right now is, without having to hire staff, right, is to actually engage with a car club and use it as a fundraiser for them, right? They
They put it
sell
on.
it, they put it on, we benefit as part of the registration fee, right? We host it. We provide them a place. You are right, it is the heat of the day, however, car communities like to come out if they go put on a good show, right? You're gonna get a bunch of different cars out there, just like you see all the baseball fields filled up in the summer.
Do we not have like tents or places where people could gather and
I mean, they
you know,
use the
so
trees, the
just the
trees,
shade
yeah.
of the trees? I
right.
was just thinking,
So I think,
And we didn't run it very late either.
yeah,
mhm,
About the time the worst part of the heat of the day came in, about 2 o'clock, I think we were shutting down.
you were done.
everybody
Okay.
left.
Yeah, so we started it early and shut down when it started hitting the century mark.
There is something to be said to have it annually, even if it's not that big, only because I remember growing up, I don't know if you remember, you're too young. Pablo's Grove, you're too young, never mind. Pablo's Grove used to have one all the time. It's a park, where we grew up. And it started like that, like guys were just hanging out, and then it just got bigger and bigger. They put on barbecues.
Mhm.
They would have barbecues down there, and so it just got bigger, and
Yeah.
it was nice for the community to come out.
That's true, but the whole, the way to succeed is to have a dedicated group that's
Yeah,
going
I
to do
agree.
it. I mean, you can't just say
Yeah,
it. You have to
I
have a
agree.
dedicated
Mhm.
Yeah.
group that's going to do it, or it's not gonna happen.
I agree, and I think, the suggestion to put it out there like we have a venue where our car club could put one on.
Yeah.
And if, they're the ones that promote it and all that, so that's on them. As far as traffic, I don't know that they're gonna be out there, that they have enough people to control all that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I mean, it would definitely be a joint operation, right? And
Mhm.
if they're collecting any kind of significant registration fee, they're gonna have to figure out, okay, we need some sort of traffic control.
Mhm.
And even if it's just a guy in front directing people in and a guy in the back directing
Mhm.
people out, right? Like,
Or
or
signage
holding
Mhm.
traffic so that way cars can come in. And then once they stop those, then they let
because
them
of the
out.
in and out.
Right, because of the
Mhm.
in and out. So again, I'm not opposed to the idea of having it. I think there needs to be a lot more,
Just more
more
organization.
organization. I mean, so I don't know how we want to go about this, but I'm not opposed to. Let's talk some more, Terry, and actually sit down and write out a plan of what we want to do, and then we can bring it back and say, do we still want to do this based on some of the guidelines that we come up with?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a plan and then we need to say yay or nay, we will do it.
Yeah, and now's the time, right? Like we got Father's Day is what, in July,
Yeah, we got a
right?
good
So
6
we got
months.
7 months, so
June.
June, yeah. So I mean, we got plenty of time to figure it out and then actually go out there and find an organization big enough that would want to take on the challenge, right? Because,
That was one of the things we ran into on our first car show. We did find somebody who was willing to help.
And they
The city.
backed out, right?
Oh, they ran like crazy. They forgot about us. They didn't return phone
Yeah.
calls, just,
well, and not to that extent, right? Like, I mean, like the local, Harley Davidson club that
Mhm.
wants to raise money because they do stuff during the year. Those guys come out and run it, right?
yeah,
Like it's our venue, it's the city of Sandy Oaks, but we're splitting the gate fee, right? Because they're providing the staff, they're doing all the recruiting, they're doing all the advertising in a sense of distributing, because they're the ones out there. And we're just providing a place for them to come and meet
Mhm.
for a Father's Day show,
Mhm.
so. I think we can pull this one for now if everybody is in agreement, and then we can talk offline about how we get this.
Absolutely.
in target.
we can discuss that again on the next meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to start somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving right along, Public Works, updates and announcement from Public Works Director Priscilla Smith. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Good evening, council. Wanted to make an announcement to let everyone know that, our city hall, we met with, Success Engineer and they will start working on our parking lot December 4th. So,
There should,
December 4th?
yes,
yes, ma'am.
there should be still access in and out. It's gonna be limited, but we'll have ways, like if they have to block the driveway, we'll have ways to reach people in the front and escort them here so that way they're not having to walk across the property. So that way they don't have to cross too much construction.
What's the name of the company doing the paving job?
Lone Star Paving, yeah, right,
Okay.
The Polaris is already here.
yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, we are going to pull 11A because I've been out of town for too long and I need to touch back with Jess. So we will pull that. And moving on, discuss and or possible action on the amendment or abolishment of ordinance 2019-143 regulating garage sales in the city and related matters. Did we have time to review those by council?
I got mine, or you just estimate.
No, but I mean, like, do we have an argument to present or do we need more time?
It would require two readings, so any amendments or discussion can happen tonight and it'd be adopted because the second reading in December.
Okay,
And just regarding the market days as an address, because that is a separate issue. Garage sales are within residential limits and governed by would be governed by this for the market days, because it's more of a community-wide event, takes place in the park. That would be a separate
Okay,
ordinance or a separate discussion, but those would require a tax permit for any vendor unless it's considered a community-wide garage sale. So I think it depends on how the council wants to classify it. But if it's a park issue, since it's not residential, it would be a market days, fairs, flea markets would require that tax and sales permit from the state.
So it's just a sample for us.
the permit? Yeah, I think it is just,
Just a
yeah, I think it's an
sample.
And then fees can be included in the fee schedule that the city adopts regularly with the other fees.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do we want to do today?
Well, I read through it and looked at it earlier today, and I have absolutely no issues with it as presented. Does anyone have discussion points?
I don't, I read through it, but quickly, I
Yeah, I think we
seems
just.
okay to me.
As far as the two garage sales per 12-month period,
Dig into
I
it,
don't have a problem with the way it's written.
as I didn't.
That's the only thing that changed.
I don't think the permit should be free.
You do believe the permit should be free?
No,
You don't? Okay.
no,
What's that, man?
I don't think the permit should be free. I think they should charge them like $5. You know, nothing really extravagant. But I don't think they should be for free.
There is some administrative paperwork that has to be followed up on, it seems like. Because it's tracking how many times I have a garage sale. Did I have one this month? How are you gonna know if you don't track it?
Yeah, then there's.
And then if I have one next month, and then what if I try for a third month?
Yeah,
So I'm taking somebody away from their assigned duties.
It should be easy enough to track.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
I used me instead of somebody else. Seems easier.
Is a permit fee required in the ordinance, or can we discuss that separately and amend the fee
Schedule.
schedule?
No, it's not. It just references a payment of a fee if applicable,
If we should
and
know.
depending on the situation, some cities charge no permit fee the
It
first
doesn't say
time, and
it's
permit
free,
fees
it
after,
just
vice
says
versa,
if
where they
applicable.
charge permit fees for the first
But that's
one or two
outside of the
times, and
ordinance.
then, so
Outside of the
that
ordinance.
it would be addressed in the fee schedule. Similar to the way it's addressed with animal pickups
Right.
and first violation, second violation could be addressed that way.
I think that's what. The way to handle it.
First
Because that could change over time, or we would.
Yeah, so you don't have to.
Put it on the
Make it
website.
all the time.
Yep.
they do like $5.
I'd recommend we don't address that
Yeah.
here
just this.
in the ordinance,
Okay,
and perhaps you and Alderman Coppin should talk about that. And recommend amending the fee schedule
The fee
at our next
schedule.
meeting.
okay,
That's a good idea.
So,
So what we're dealing with now is just the ordinance,
yeah.
the way it's
Yeah.
written.
sounds good to me.
Well, with that addressed, I would make a motion that we adopt.
Hold on. You have to waive the 2 reading rule first. And then.
Okay,
Oh,
I move that we waive the 2 reading requirement for ordinance number 2023-231.
A second,
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to waive the two reading requirement on ordinance number 2023-231.
231.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that two reading requirement is now waived.
Ma'am, I have a second question for our lawyer. We're not violating the lemonade stand law, are we? About the no food products being sold in the garage
Yeah,
sale.
the food products is addressed in the health and safety code.
Well, I say
I
that the
don't
lemonade stand, kids want to sell lemonade at the mom and dad's garage sale.
No, that, I don't
Okay,
think
good.
that'd be different.
I don't want somebody being confused, thinking that we're trying to get away from letting some 10 or 11-year-old try and make 25 cents a cup on a lemonade, you know. They want to do it, hey, I'm all for it. Sell
No.
Kool-Aid, whatever.
No, this would address items that are not food or beverage items. So
Okay.
Actually, the cottage industry law and the lemonade law
Mhm.
are not. We cannot pass an ordinance.
But I wanted to make sure we had.
Against that, yeah.
Sales of food
Mhm.
and drinks that require time and temperature requirements
Mhm.
are covered under health and safety code. And we can say, you can't do this,
Mhm.
Mhm.
For health reasons.
because it's already a state law.
Mhm.
So with that said, if there's no further discussion, I move that we adopt ordinance number 2023-231, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, amending ordinance number 2019-143, regulating garage sales within the city as it is written.
I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to adopt ordinance number 2023-231, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, amending ordinance number 2019-143, regulating garage sales within the city of Sandy Oaks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All those opposed? Thank you. And then we will put the fee schedule on the next agenda.
I guess we'll be up now the next few minutes.
All right, so. Let's go ahead and. Jump to item 7C. Is that
17.
7C? Executive session to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a police officer, or to hear a complaint or charge against a police officer pursuant to Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section number 551.074, personnel matters. The time is now 7:07. We will move into executive session.
Mayor, do you want to call the executive session for
Can we do that?
November 12th?
Can we do that? Yes. And we will also do executive session to deliberate a change in compensation for Public Works employee Michael Almadano, Chief of Police Felipe Lopez, and City Secretary Court Clerk Catherine Yelton, related pursuant matters to Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074. Personnel matters. Again, the time is now 7:07 for this executive session. Okay, we'll be right back. You got it, Grace? Okay. Okay, time is now 7:35. We are back in session. All right, so item 7D. Discuss under possible action on the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of a police officer to hear a complaint or charge against a police officer. At this time, do I need to make a recommendation or do we just accept what the chief has recommended?
If there's any discussion, you can discuss it, or otherwise just a motion and a second and a vote.
Okay, so the recommendation is to place
Oh, sure.
Officer Casas on administrative leave. That is the recommendation. However, as she alluded to, we do need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we place Officer Casas on administrative leave
I'd like to,
without pay.
I'd like to amend that motion.
Okay.
Officer Costas has been placed on administrative leave. I move that we affirm the chief's decision to place him on administrative leave, pending a hearing regarding his probation period.
I withdraw my motion.
Alderman Martinez, but I'll also have to withdraw the motion.
I'll withdraw my head.
I was on
Second.
that.
So she seconded.
Yeah, but I second it.
Oh.
Did you need a second now?
Yeah, we need
I'll
a second for Fellinger's. Okay.
Alderman Fellingers. We'll get this right.
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fellinger and a second from Alderman Coffendaffer to affirm the administrative leave for Officer Casas placed on by Chief Lopez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 12B, discuss enter possible action on a change in compensation for Public Works employee Michael Avendano, Chief Police Felipe Lopez, and City Secretary Court Clerk Catherine Yelton, and related matters. All right, so at this time, should we go through one by one and make a motion separately, or do we?
Separate motions.
Several motions, okay. All right, so my recommendation for Michael Avendano is to have a $1.50 increase for his annual pay increase. We will need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give the gentleman $1.50 increase per hour. Effective immediately.
At the next pay period.
The next pay period.
Okay, we'll do it at the next pay period. Try to get it timed today, or at least tomorrow.
It's really a hassle.
Yeah, all right, so yeah, and that,
I just want to brutalize.
we'll have to talk to ADE, or SAPs about that.
So it's.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Coffendaffer and a second from Alderwoman Martinez to increase Michael Avendano's pay by $1.50, beginning the next pay cycle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank you. All right, moving on to City Secretary. Ms. Catherine Yelton, I do recommend that we provide her a $1.50 increase to her salary. Again, this will take a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion that we increase Ms. Yelson's pay raise by $1.50,
I'll second.
taking effect on the next.
Pay period.
I'll second.
All right, so I got a motion from Alderman Coffendaffer and a second from Alderman Rapino to increase the pay by $1.50 for Ms. Catherine Yelton, the City Secretary Court Clerk, effective the next pay period. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Mayor Pro Tem, did you say?
Yeah. I said it.
Okay, I
I'm
just want to
sorry.
make sure I heard you. No, you're good. All right, and then last, we had Chief of Police Felipe Lopez. My recommendation is a $3 increase to the current salary. Again, this will take a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion that we give Chief a pay raise of $3.49 to take effect on the next pay cycle. And the reason why I say 49 cents, because that 01's killing me.
I got so too.
I'll second.
It's just a weird number.
Effective,
You get an extra penny this hour.
effective,
Next pay period.
Effective next paper.
and then Alderwoman Martinez, you seconded?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I have a,
Get that throw one too.
I thought about that.
all right, so I have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderwoman Martinez to provide a $3.49 increase to Chief of Police Felipe Lopez effective the next pay period. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. All right. Because it'll be an all one.
You don't want.
All right, so moving on, I'm gonna pull item C and D. Just to allow for some more time to review on my side, so I can understand what we're doing.
I agree.
So we will pull C and D. To be discussed at the next.
I think. Me too.
Yeah, because Catherine was really spearheading that ordinance, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, let's pull E as well. Okay. All right, and then moving on to item 12F, discuss under possible action on revisiting the city's paid time off policy. So in your packet, the only change that we wanted.
Did you pull item E also?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes,
I missed some.
yeah, we pulled it.
I was reading that, sir, and I got a question.
On E, I mean on F,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Do we have a program in place where an employee may give their paid time off to another employee? During an extended period if said employee is unable to take enough time off?
We do not.
It's really a bag of worms.
Yeah, because the rates are different, so. But if we could always put it on the agenda if you want to talk about it.
I was gonna say that might be something to look at later on when we go to discuss, what's that called? Benefits.
Okay.
I'd like to recommend that conversation take place out of council and we,
That's what I said.
Yep.
let's move on.
All right, so the change here for item F is really to kind of level the playing field when it comes to PTO. Right now, we kind of have an open policy of you can take an unpaid day off, which is fine. However, then you save your PTO for, the last 3 weeks of December. And it really becomes a burden on the city because now we're struggling with multiple people being off. Whereas we don't have coverage. And I want to be respectful to everybody's PTO, but at the same time, I think we also need to be respectful of the greater policy and that when we take a day off, we have a bank of PTO to keep you covered. That's basically the recommendation. It's certainly at anybody's discretion to go off of that and go in any which way, shape or form, but that's at least what we're thinking for this adjustment to the employee leave policy.
That's not an uncommon policy in HR departments across the nation. For exactly the same reason.
Yep.
Further
Yeah,
discussion.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm asking, is there any more discussion?
I was asking if we had to have a motion to approve it. As
Yeah.
written.
Yes, we would.
So it's just a motion to approve the amendment.
Mhm.
I make a motion to approve the amendment as written.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman or Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado and Alderman Aquino to accept the amendment to the personnel policy manual, specifically employee leave policy. As written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. I believe,
Motion. Yeah.
let me make sure we didn't miss anything. I believe so. Well, we just need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All right, it's now 7:45. We are adjourned.
Y'all can vote on that one.